Well, I already know a bunch of people are going to come to this video just to give it a thumbs down and leave a nasty comment without even watching it. So if you are one of those people, I would challenge you to actually try listening to what I have to say.
Hello there. I watched your video and I listened to what you had to say, and it got me to thinking. I want to say that at the end of the video, I didn't change my mind. I still think that there are only two genders, but I want to explain why. And I want to explain perhaps why people who also think like me would think why. And my aim in this video is not to convert or to debunk or disprove, but more to help communication. It's remarkable how much upset comes out of misunderstandings or different ideas of what words mean. And for example, here's this in your video.
He said that when people deviate from the norm, they shouldn't be welcomed with open arms, but tolerated without too much aggression. This is a university professor basically saying, you're lucky that your gender doesn't make me aggressive towards you. Ew.
I can't speak for Professor Peterson myself, but I'm pretty sure that's not what he meant. Personally, I take it as him saying that every new idea that comes along shouldn't just be accepted 100% right off the bat. Some ideas are good, some ideas are bad, but everyone is allowed to have ideas, and we should be tolerant of ideas. All ideas should be given the right to exist because the alternative is thought censorship. And you have to remember that letting a bad idea exist isn't the same as saying it's a good idea. I got a little rambly there, but basically I just think he's saying, take in new ideas, but don't let them change up everything and screw everything up, because if you say yes to everything, that'll happen.
This guy isn't the only one. Most people who make response videos to mine can't seem to resist the temptation to throw in some ad hominem insults towards me, usually saying that my non-binary gender doesn't exist.
One of my goals of this video also is to treat you with respect and to not insult you for no reason, and I don't want to use ad hominem attacks. What you just said has made any conversation or discussion about this completely impossible. Disagreeing with you is not an ad hominem attack, and when the position you are maintaining is yourself, you have to accept that there needs to be a little bit of wiggle room if any talking is going to happen. Look, I promise that me disagreeing with you doesn't mean I hate you or dislike you. I don't know you and you don't know me, but I have no reason to think that you're a bad person. I haven't seen anything to make me think that about you, so you have this sort of baseline respect from me that I give to similar strangers in my life. So just remember that, please. And on with the video.
So here are 3 steps to acknowledging the existence of non-binary people. Step number 1, recognize that sex and gender are not the same thing. Sex is not gender. Gender is not sex. Sex is biological and has to do with your anatomy and physiology. Gender, on the other hand, is a socially constructed set of cultural norms.
Now, you see, I actually agree with you so far. I do tend to think of sex as the physical and then gender as more of the societal ideas of what those sexes do. So we agree on that. And yet we have come to very different conclusions. I have come to understand that society's idea of what a woman is and society's idea of what a man is are stereotypes. I am not a girly girl, nor am I a manly man, but I don't believe that makes me some different new thing. To me, that would imply that there is some correct way to be a woman or a man, and I don't believe there is. I was born with and still have female anatomy, and so that is how the world regards me, but I am under no obligation to fulfill their ideas of what a woman is. I'm me, I'm an individual, and I will be a woman however I want to be. I accept the label of female for no other reason than my biology, because it has nothing to do with who I am as a person deep down, it's just the body I have. The F on my birth certificate is not a command, and I am not beholden to it. But I see that you, and when people like you hear male or female, you do seem to treat it as a command from society to be one way or the other. You somehow both reject and conform to the norm by adding more labels to describe yourselves with, instead of accepting that the 2 labels that exist don't have to mean anything to you. There's this kind of obsession with descriptive labels that I see that really concerning to me, and I don't understand it.
Step number 2, recognize that it's normal for gender and assigned sex not to match. There's nothing innate that would force people to identify with their assigned sex.
Now it kind of seems like you're getting gender and sex mixed up, because how the heck does someone identify with their sex? How the heck do I identify with my vagina? It's just a body part that's attached to me. Now perhaps if I didn't like my vagina and it caused me distress, and I thought maybe I'd be happier if I was a man and had a penis, then I'd be trans maybe, but that's different. I would be a trans man in that case, and trans people make up a very small portion of the population, so by definition, in that regard, it isn't normal. But remember that not normal doesn't mean bad. Not normal just means not the usual thing that happens. Having an abnormal heartbeat is bad, but say having an abnormal skill isn't. Or perhaps you mean that it's normal for, say, females to like things that are typically for boys, or boys to like things that are typically for girls, and to have all sorts of crisscrossing interests. Well, yeah, obviously that's normal, and anyone who doesn't think so is living in the Stone Age.
Gender dysphoria is something that a lot of trans people, but not all trans people, experience to various degrees.
I really think that it's the lack of dysphoria that leads people to accuse others of being transgenders. If you're not uncomfortable with your body, then what's the discrepancy here? What's the problem?
Step number 3, recognize that people can identify outside of the binary.
Obviously, people can identify as whatever they want. Literally anything. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the world has to agree with it.
Alright, this last step is admittedly the hardest for a lot of people. I've even met binary trans people who deny the existence of non-binary people. But the thing is, if you can recognize that gender is just this arbitrary social construct that's not based in biology, and you can recognize that people don't have to identify with the gender they were assigned at birth, then why can't they identify with a gender that's not strictly man or woman?
It's the very fact that I believe that gender has become so much of a societal thing that I think that non-binary is bullshit. Most females are feminine, most males are masculine, but that doesn't mean that that's the only way to be. When I say that I think non-binary is bullshit, I'm not telling you that I think you should cut off all your hair and stop wearing makeup and then just be a dude bro. You should just keep doing what you're doing. In this video, I see a male that is very feminine, and I am not opposed to that in any way. In fact, I think you look really good. But anyway, what I am opposed to is you imposing language and words and terminology on me that I do not believe to be accurate or factual. My disagreement isn't with your actions, but with your words. This is my personal opinion here, but I think you let words have too much power over you. And I think your life might get a little bit easier if you work to not let that happen. Male or female, you are you. Me not calling you they, them, their doesn't stop you from being the most amazing you can be. So just keep doing you.
There's no clear biological basis to our made-up social concepts of masculinity and femininity. There's no hard and fast line between our ideas of men and women. It's really not that hard to imagine that someone could identify with bits of both, or neither.
I do identify with a bit of both, so I completely understand this. I just don't see the need to christen myself with a made-up label or change the way people refer to me grammatically. When I say that I think that non-binary identities aren't valid, I'm not saying that I don't believe you're having the feelings you feel. That would be ridiculous and impossible to prove anyway. I really hope this obsession with gender ends, and making up new gender terms isn't helping. Gender only matters because we made it matter. Race only matters because we made it matter. Nationality only matters because we made it matter. I wish everyone would stop obsessing over our differences. Well, I think I'm about done here. Thanks for watching, and I hope anyone who watched enjoyed it. Thank you.